In a political environment or season like this one, we should not preach peace and neglect duty. The leaders have a duty to perform. We must equally speak to the duties of the leader as much as we are preaching the peace from people. Imbalance in Ebamwa, please, there's injustice on the land. We cannot let Rehoboam do what he likes. And you come and tell us that everybody should keep quiet and promote peace. If Rehoboam is wrong, please, an action needs to be taken. Let's tell Rehoboam you are wrong. Let's advise Rehoboam to do the right thing. Else, please, let's not preach peace when everybody is suffering. Nobody will listen to that peace. It won't work. That's why people will say that, now I thought this is a Christian country. Why are they going on demonstration? I saw for a crack or demonstration. Welcome once again to Sunday School and Podcast. Today, just as I told you, we are on the political seats and our conversation is following what we had last week. Last week's conversation was about leadership and succession. Leadership is very important. In fact, if you live in any organization, it's important to consider who your leader is. Because somebody has said that the knowledge of your leader influences how far you can grow. Agozi, I am here with my brother, Agozi Ajumai. So we're talking about that particular issue first. Somebody is saying that your leader determines how far you go. Politically, the leader of a people influences their development. What do you think?
Well, you see, it has always been there, both in the church and in the world. A leader with a vision, a leader who is very humble, a leader who is well educated, a leader who is listening, who is ready to listen. Such people will always help the people to get to where God has ordained them or destined to be. Why am I saying all these things? Because, see, if you look at the life of the ants, when the ants are moving and the leader gets killed, you know what happens? I don't know if many people have done this kind of research. Study ants when they are moving. Find the leader and kill the leader and realize that they all scatter.
It's like the sense of direction will be missing.
That is it. And so whenever any country or any society or any group of people want to develop, one of the things they have to consider is choosing and praying for the right leader. And that is the only way they can develop as a people or as a society or as a community. And that statement is very true. Any movement, any institution, or any church without a good leader, you can't develop. If you look at our current world now, look at the developed countries, you check their leaders, you see what is happening. And you check those who are also flopping, you see what is happening. And it's all about leadership. You saw the leadership of Jesus Christ. You saw the leadership of Moses. You have seen the leadership of some great people. I can talk of, this Gaddafi guy. And we know Nkrumah in Ghana, when Nkrumah started, and all those kind of things. Yeah, we have countries that have that history. If you look at
leadership is a big issue.
It's a big deal.
Some people say that, why they are 4 years, then they are finished. So
no,
we don't worry about it. It's not supposed
leadership is a very big deal.
We should take it seriously.
If you have a husband at home, trust me, the home, the best scatter. It's all about leadership.
So I think, just as last week we talked about it, leadership cuts across every dimension of human life. There is leadership of a sort. And today we are looking at the task of political leadership. Political leadership, the task. Now, your Central Truth has a very interesting comment. It says that the purpose of political leadership is to serve the interests of the people. When we went to school, we learned something that democracy is the government of the people, for the people, by the people.
Sure.
So the idea of politics in the democratic society is that it is a leader appointed by the people to serve them. So the interest of the people determines the leader they choose. Here he's saying that political leadership purpose is to serve the interest of the people. Because do you see our political leadership as it is, as serving the interest of the people? It's like last week we said something like a leader must come to a point where you even lose for your people to gain. Is that the issue? Is that the reflection we see in our society?
Unfortunately for us in our world today, many communities, societies, and countries are not enjoying this type of leadership. You see, the central truth is clear that the purpose of a leader is to serve the interests of the people. But one of the things that I've realized is that, unfortunately, when leaders are not serving the interests of the people, the people that the leader is serving have, they find it difficult to bring those leaders in order, to check them. They have to bring them to check. Because the reason why we chose you to come and serve our interest. And so when you realize that few years, few months, you are serving your own interest, we have to kick you off.
No, like there's also this idea. Political leaders serve the interest of some people, not the masses who voted him.
That is it. You see, the reason why is that I think that in as much as when it comes to politics and governance, they have what we call constitution. The reason why politicians take over or become leaders and they don't serve the interests of the people is that some part of the constitutions are not well planned, and it gives them that mandate to misbehave and do things anyhow.
So the interest of the people is to be served, but they can also take advantage of the power and the authority to serve other interests. And I think, let's talk about this in conflicting interests. Somebody vying for political power, authority, having their own opinions in their head. And somebody is coming and then, like they call people party financiers. Somebody has sponsored your cost of trying to get power. The interests are conflicting. The one who gave you the money that brought you into power has an interest. Those who are your party executives and those who are in the leadership of the political party have an interest of a sort to protect the image of the party. And the people who voted for you to have an interest, these three, which one do you think in order of hierarchy? How do you arrange it? Let's say arrange it in order of importance to the political leader.
You see,
as you see it.
First and foremost, you are supposed to serve the interests of the people first. Then we come to those who finance you. Then lastly, come to you. Your interest. Automatically, you cannot be a leader without having an interest of being what? Being a leader. There should be an interest. You have a reason why you want to lead. That is it. And it's supposed to be positive reason too. You understand? So you serve the interest of the people. Of course, if people finance you to get there, you have to what? Serve their interest too. For me, I believe that if somebody should finance you to get power, at least since you have authority and power, there are certain companies, institutions that at least you can give contract to those people who serve, and it's a positive contract. As you give to anybody to also benefit, there will be interest. When they invest money into those contracts, they will get their interest. So such people, you consider them first, and that is genuine and positive because they push you there. It is not because you are just finding a way to steal government money to the people, but you give them contract. So
you consider them as a point of an advantage for them to also gain
something
from your position.
For me, which is not bad.
I think if so let's say that somebody will say that it's bad, but I don't think it's bad because if the person is number one, a qualified person, number two, he has the requisite skills, he has the requisite permits and whatever makes him a business person, and he is vying for an opportunity to do a government contract.
Then you have to
There's nothing wrong with giving him that opportunity. He can execute.
That is it.
But the problem comes when they will compromise the interest of the person above the interest of the nation. Whereby if the person fails to execute, you cannot talk because
you see, one of the things is that leaders in African countries especially, before they will start their process of trying to become a leader and going for campaign, those kind of things, from the onset, they spoil the whole thing. Why am I saying this? They spoil the whole thing because they begin to give money to the people they want to serve their interest. So the moment you receive the money, he has buy your conscience. And so when he assume or she assume power or he get opportunity to come and lead, you remember that he gave you some money. And because of that, you can't check him when he's not serving your interest. Because first and foremost, he bought your what? Conscience. And so what we have to do is that even though, in as much as we want to lead, all that we have to do is that those who are ready to choose the leaders should always understand that we have to put ourselves in a certain position whereby when these leaders are chosen, they won't take us for granted.
So let's continue from there. Yeah. Our conversation today, we are looking at the story of Rehoboam.
Yeah.
He succeeded his father Solomon. And when you read the context, the 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1 to 8 is what our whole conversation is about.
Okay.
And the Bible says that the people came to Rehoboam. And then in verse 4, it says that the people came to Rehoboam with a request. They said, your father puts a heavy yoke on us. But now, lighten the harsh labor and the heavy yoke he put on us, and we will serve you. This verse reveals that Solomon was a wise king, but at the end of his reign, the people suffered
under his reign.
Yep. They mentioned yoke. They mentioned labor. It's like he was wise, chosen by God, given godly wisdom. But he ended up making the people suffer for it. Because he was wise, but yet he didn't consider the people.
You see, the problem here is that when Solomon assumed power, there's one thing that God asked him, what do you want me to do for you?
Yes,
and clearly he asked for a positive thing. That is, give me wisdom to manage your people and to lead them. Now, God said, because he didn't ask the death of your enemies and to destroy your enemies, I'll add everything to it. So Solomon was given much wisdom and everything was given to him. But you see, in the course of we working with God, as leaders work with God, at a point in time, sometimes they become so familiar with God and they lose sight. That's what happened to Solomon. At a point in time, because of God spoke to him one-on-one and he saw how God was with him, he thought that he can do anything that he wants. The reason why God gave those things is that I am giving you all those resources so that you will serve the interest of my people. Remember, the interest of God was on his people, not the leader. Solomon should just understand that God chose him because of the interest of his people, not him, Solomon. And many occasions, this is where leaders, miss it. Sometimes they come to the point they think that it's about them. No, God has placed me there. Oh, position. Yeah, position. But it is the interest of the people God have chosen. In the case of Solomon, the people of Israel. In the case of Ghana, the citizens of Ghana. And so when you lose sight that you are at that position because of the people, not because of you, gradually you get to the point where the people become sick and tired of you.
The interest, I want us to touch on one thing there. Solomon didn't begin like a bad leader.
Not at all.
Most people who vie for political positions actually have the interest of the people at heart. But along the line, something changed. Solomon was started like he wanted wisdom because of the people, to rule them well. Everything he asked for it made sense. God saw the wisdom of the man in even the request he made, and gave him that kind of, what he requested, and even more than that. Because the man wanted to do a good job. Sometimes politicians want to do a good job, but somehow along the line, something happens.
Their hands are tied behind them to take certain decisions. This is the reason.
I think that's why the Bible says we should pray for leaders.
You see, the reason why we are to pray for leaders and leaders are supposed to pray for themselves is that, you see, when you get to that position as a leader, first and foremost, one thing that we have to always get this straight is that first you are serving God. Before the people who have chosen, God has chosen for you to lead. So you are serving God and the interest of the people. So the one that placed you there, those who believe that God that placed them there, should always go to God and ask them what to do. If you check the life of David, who Solomon succeeded him, in many occasions, David will call a prophet and say, inquire of the Lord for me. Inquire of the Lord for me. What does it mean? It means that he's a human being. At a point in time as a leader, he wouldn't know what to do.
I think we didn't hear much of that in Solomon's reign.
That is it.
No, was it because Solomon was given wisdom? And then it's like, when there is wisdom, you must just apply. You don't need to go to God to ask for things when you already know how to get things done.
There's one thing that we should understand from the book of Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 1 to 10. I think the verse 5 said that in all your ways, acknowledge God. You see, no matter how you are blessed with wisdom and understanding and you are knowledgeable, in all your ways, The scripture said, I think that scripture was written by David himself. He said, in all your ways, acknowledge. He didn't say some ways.
All.
In all your ways, acknowledge God. So it means that, fine, God has given us wisdom. We understand that when you wake up, you have to eat breakfast. But why is that you come to eat, you pray to God? Why don't you just get the food and go ahead and eat? But I say, God, I thank you for this and a whole lot of things. You are acknowledging God. It means that you are about to eat. So if there's something, and you know, many occasions, I don't know whether people have had this experience before. There are moments we want to eat and God says, no, this we don't eat again. But then go into prayer. There's something about to happen somewhere. I want you to intercede. For me, that's happened to me before. And so, if leaders will understand that no matter how God has blessed them with knowledge and understanding and wisdom, every situation, especially when they get to a point, as a human being, as a leader, there are levels that you get, you don't know what to do. And you need God intervention. You need to ask God, what should I do? So, like I said, there are certain things that was which David Solomon did not learn from his father.
Okay, so I think you've said something here that we are moving into the next part of it. It's like, as a leader, you'll get to a point where you are confronted with a question, a request, an appeal. Something will come before your table and you don't know how to make a decision, because in either side of the decision you will make, somebody is going to be affected. So here, the people came to Rehoboam with a request. Your father did this to us. Please, reduce it for us. It was a genuine request. They had legitimate concern that they needed a leader to address. They brought it, and the Bible says Rehoboam requested for 3 days to deliberate about the matter and give them a response. Then Rehoboam went further and did his consultation. First council of Rehoboam were the elders that were in the power with his father. They saw what his father did. And then they gave Rehoboam a friend saying, they gave Rehoboam their own counsel. The Bible said that they told Rehoboam that listen to these people and give them what they want. If you do for them what they want, they will always serve you. That's exactly what the people told Rehoboam. If you do for us, help us, make our life better, we will be interested in serving you forever. And the Bible says that Rehoboam went further and consulted his peers. He wanted to see the Gen Z, how their mind is on the matter. Then the Gen Z people too came with their own opinion that you need to show them who is in power. Show them pepper, show them something small, not feel. Let them feel something. When they feel something, they will not take you for granted because you are a young man. They will think because you are young, they can always come and bully you with a request. And
get away with it.
Get away with it. As a leader who has these two conflicting opinions, the final decision is on Rehoboam. Make a choice amongst the council you have made. None of them were forcing him to do something. They all suggested to the king. But the Bible said Rehoboam had to make a decision. Now Rehoboam's decision was he went with the counsel of his peers. Is it a sign of weak leader, or what is it?
You see, I'm being compelled to understand that Rehoboam may have not been lucky to be born at a time when his father was wise. But probably, he was born when his father has become so foolish.
So he saw the error of his father.
Parading himself with a lot of women from different countries and different nations with their idols. And so you see, the environment you grow under always has a bigger influence on you.
Leader.
And that is what the spirit in me telling me that is where Rehoboam was influenced. And so when he was growing, he didn't saw a father figure who was actually doing the right thing. He was not born at the time that his father consulted God, that God, I need wisdom to lead your people. If he had born at that time, he might also do the same thing. No, what the elders have come to me, let me go to God and ask God, God, how should I lead your people? But like I said, maybe he was born at an era where his father was misbehaving, bringing a lot of women around him. So that is what he saw.
So
chilling and having fun.
Per the example he saw.
Per the influence and example he saw. Bible said that train up a child the way he should go.
When he grows.
When he grow, you never depart. So for me, as I sit here, that is what I'm feeling. That Rehoboam may have not been lucky. Under the time, when he was growing, the influence that he find himself is what resulted to his leadership. That he didn't get a father that counsel like how Solomon himself was lucky. You remember that David told Solomon one day that you are wise and you have lived under me as a leader, and there are some certain people in the palace, you know how to deal with them. So I will not tell you anything. I don't know if you know that story.
When David was about
Why do you think David would tell his son that? Because he know that this boy is wise. David was ruling with that wise counsel, leaving his enemies, so allow God to take his side. And so he grew to see the father that tactically consulting God, what should I do? There are times people come and bully his territory. When he came, he said, God, why should I do this? God said, wait, I'll go after them. Then another said, God, why should I do it? Next time, go after them. So Solomon grew under a father who was consulting God in all that he does, so he was acknowledging God. But Rehoboam didn't get the opportunity. So this thing tells me that anytime you want to even choose a leader, you should look at the father of that leader that is seeking power. Or that person want to, let's take for instance, Ghana here. Mahama and Bawumia, they are all looking for father. It will be very good for the citizen to check who their father is. Biological father one, and the one who mentored them in politics before they should vote for them.
Because whoever gave you the idea of how things are done influences how you will do it by all means.
By all means.
So I think we get it that Rehoboam didn't get a good example from his father Solomon.
That is it.
But he also had the chance
to ask God.
Because the elders were there.
That is it.
They gave him the advice.
And they were still the Israelites who have the great God that they have been serving.
So it's still you can't really take Rehoboam, like you can't take responsibility from him that he's responsible for the choice he made. He made a wrong choice and he's supposed to have made a better choice, because the Bible says that, but in verse 8, but Rehoboam rejected the advice of the elders. He rejected it.
Do you know why? Because, like I said earlier on, do you think that when Solomon was bringing a lot of ladies and women from different guys, the elders of Israel didn't advise him? They advised him and he refused. Check through the scriptures. And so the boy grew, seeing his father refusing the advice of elders who are part of his council.
So if these elders gave the son this advice, then in the days of Solomon, they might have given him advice that he didn't listen.
That is it.
Because he was wise.
That is it.
Why should you listen to a
Why do you listen? That is it. But like I said,
so can we blame the decisions leaders make, political leaders make, to the council of people around them?
Sure. You see, in Ghana here, recently I was told that there was this council of state. They used to advise the government. And there's some said that when they go to the government, the president that do this, no, we won't do it. Council are there, the council of state are there, but it's up to the president
to whether to take the advice,
to not to take. You understand? But if you're a leader who fears the Lord, then you understand that as David continued to listen to this man, Ahithophel, you should also listen to your counselors, those who counsel you. That is it. David was listening to what? Ahithophel. You understand? It means that no matter how God bless you with wisdom, in as much as you have counsel of state, and when you come to Ghana, and two heads are better than one. It means that in certain situations, you have to seek the opinion of others.
The Bible says that in a multitude of counsel, there is safety.
There is safety. And so why would...
So there's nothing wrong with consulting.
There's nothing wrong with consulting. We can consult. After that, then we go to even God.
So the problem was not the people that Rehoboam consulted. The problem was that Rehoboam's own head was not correct.
Was not correct. Because for me, I'll continue to say he was said was not correct because of where he grew up.
He didn't learn kinship from the right person.
Unfortunately, he had a wrong father at that time.
Okay, so let's go to the final part of it. Rehoboam's actions had a consequence.
Sure.
Whatever leaders' decision they take has a consequence on their leadership and also on the people.
Sure.
The consequence of Rehoboam's decision resulted in abstract rebellion to the point where Rehoboam lost almost 90% of the kingdom. because of one decision.
This is where the problem is. Today, many churches or many church leaders think that young ones cannot do anything because of Rehoboam. They will always quote this scripture. Yeah, but they've forgotten that in the days of Josiah 9 years, the first thing that they asked that where is the law of the Lord?
Yeah.
And the leaders and the elders of Israel or the people he was leading brought the book and he opened the scriptures or the scrolls and said, we are going according to what the Lord has said. And you and I know from the Bible's perspective, he was one of the greatest leaders who were lead the people of Israel. You understand? 9 years.
I think it's a serious issue.
It has all got to do with one, the one that will develop you. Two, at a point in time when you are growing as a human being, there are certain things that you realize that no, this thing, even though this is the family that I belong to, but some of their values I can't go with it. Because there are point in time where a human being, like I keep saying for Rehoboam, he didn't make Clarky. There are point in time you have to sit there and say, no, I am human being. There are certain things, even though this is my father, this is the family that I'm coming from, but some of the values are not possible that I can follow.
Yeah.
I have to seek God myself. I have to get to know certain things myself. You are all born into a Christian home, but while you are growing, you realize that there are certain values and in certain denominations that we cannot go by.
You must, like, you cannot abdicate and I say exclude yourself from the responsibility of making the decision.
That is it.
As long as you are a leader, when the decision is made, whether you sat in the board, in the council, or you delegated somebody to make the decision on your behalf, you will be held responsible equally.
That is it.
And I think that is one of the things we should take, because like the effect of Rehoboam's situation must reflect in everything. When there is bad leadership, we cannot keep quiet.
Sure.
That's the point I see.
Sure.
When you see the sign of a bad leader, please
talk about it.
Something must be done. We cannot sit now and say, oh, yeah, they are so many. As for we, dear, we are Christians. We cannot take side. Whatever they do, God is our God. He is our King and our Maker. God has given us the responsibility, number one, to pray for leaders. If God gave us the duty to pray for leaders, then we also have the duty to question them when they are wrong. To talk when there is something going wrong. We cannot be quiet in society because we are Christians and then say like, we will pray and God will touch the heart of the leader. The Bible says the heart of a king is like an egg. Boss man, there's a point when we pray. There's a point and action needs to be taken.
Now, you see, you're saying something. In Ghana here, I don't know, let me say this. When the issue of cathedral came, one day I sat and asked that, I'm a Christian, and then people are making some contribution for cathedral. Then I asked myself, when did God say that now he cannot stay in his kingdom? Or where we call the unapproachable what? A place where there is a light. He cannot stay there and want to come and stay in Ghana. Why we know that for me, according to Bible, God does not live in a temple built by human hands again.
But that initiative was not entirely a bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing.
No, but the issue is that I'm looking at the timing. One. You didn't want to you bet me say dem Nyankopon. Anytime you want to Nyankopon fact abon to you so say me be say betena Ghana.
No, I don't think that's even the case. I think the issue has to do with who requested for the building to be built.
Yeah, is it God?
In the days when Israel built a temple for God, it was God's direct instruction. So whenever a man decides that I will do this for God, it is the man's own volition and decision to do it.
So you don't.
So it is up to you. Don't
come and put it on the neck of people. And you see, in this case, I saw how many Christians behaved and also misbehaved.
We politicize it.
We politicize it. And so, you see, for me, I was thinking that it wasn't time. And look at the cost. You took pit, the most expensive pit, and a daho. And this is somebody want obi per se or no defenders are the way. But you miss says can of cost when a two as a leader.
No, nobody can defend anything.
No.
How do you defend it? Like, in what context are you going to defend
I go to defend this.
Because no matter what, looking at it in a normal time, like even if you're a normal construction person, who will die? Even if you are building your own land, and you are building on your own land, and somebody gave you an estimate, and then you started the building, and then you realize that the cost of what the person has given you have spent more than what the work the person has done. then obviously you know there's a problem.
There's a problem.
This is when you spirituality. This is not. This is pure mathematics, economics. How much do you say you will spend? How much have you spent? What has been done? Compare and contrast. Simple mathematics. Nobody is going to do a holla about it.
Coming back to the leadership thing, this is a problem many church also, many denominations have. Where we have men of God who are leaders. Clearly, we see certain things that they do that they are wrong, but you cannot direct them.
Today we are political.
They can't cancel them. They say, I saw them politics. You can't cancel them. Oh, think of us. Papa, so for me, but you are the way. And come to say, and see, and come wow. I don't want to so for. I the district minister. You can't say me, Brachiro. Because they say, and Cassano, I rather have come to realize that leaders, I think it is 1 out of 100 million that always seek to serve the interests of the people and the interests of God. All of them, from the men of God to the politicians, they are all that they want is to serve their own interests. And it's one funny thing in life is that sometimes we forget that everything that we do on this earth here, one day we'll close our eyes. And there will praise that will be transited to. There will be a transition. And when we get to that place, they will ask us a lot of questions. And so those who are leaders today, if they have forgotten, I'm telling them that the day they will close their eyes, whether political leaders or leaders in the church, when they get to that area, like Job said, a wind will be blown, and about something thousand questions they ask you within 1 minute, and you have to answer.
It's a beautiful situation, but I think the final part of what we are talking about is what's the role of the church in promoting peace in a political season like this one. We cannot just sit aside and watch evil to be done and come and preach peace after evil has been done. When you don't speak when evil is happening, please don't speak after the evil has happened to promote peace. People shouldn't suffer because of peace.
Sure.
In the case of Rehoboam, somebody would have said that, oh, for the sake of peace and the kingdom, let's all pray so that God will touch the heart of Rehoboam. The Bible said that God himself led the whole demonstration. So, in a political environment or season like this one, we should not preach peace and neglect duty. The leaders have a duty to perform. We must equally speak to the duties of the leader as much as we are preaching the peace from people. Imbalance in Ebamua, please, there's injustice on the land. We cannot let Rehoboam do what he likes. And you come and tell us that everybody should keep quiet and promote peace. If Rehoboam is wrong, please, an action needs to be taken. Let's tell Rehoboam you are wrong. Let's advise Rehoboam to do the right thing. Else, please, let's not preach peace when everybody is suffering. Nobody will listen to that peace. It won't work. That's why people will say that, now I thought this is a Christian country. Why are they going on demonstration? I saw for a crack or demonstration. We need to pay attention to what is happening and not neglect the duties of the church. As much as we preach peace to our members who are in political various affiliations, we must also preach modesty, propriety, moral uprightness to the members who are practicing the politics, so that until we now so radio so never saw them can say do you understand? Right. If you don't act as a Christian in radio stations when you are promoting your political agenda, please don't put the Bible standard and preach peace. When you have done what you were, when I go see your final words.
You see, my final words is that I keep saying that there's one thing that many times we human beings, especially believers, we take it out of our life. That's justice. You see, I have this thought I always talk about when the people of Israel met Ai and they were defeated. They were killed. Most of the armies were killed. Joshua quickly ran to God who was going to pray, and God said, stop the prayers. I don't have time for the prayers. Achan and his people have done what is wrong. They have stolen from my treasures.
Somebody must die.
Somebody must die. You see, there are people we have to jail them. There are people we have to take them to prison. And so when people do wrong and we cannot give them justice that is due them, then we want to come and preach Bible, peace. I keep saying that the God who created the heaven and earth there was no time he needed peace. He didn't sacrifice anybody. Either you die or they will put you where you belong. And so as political leaders and as in an election time, when people foul and when people do the wrong things, if they are supposed to jail for life, let them jail for life. When you go to the Asian countries, the reason why they are developing is that when you're a leader and you do the wrong thing, they can jail you for life. Some, they get to the point of killing them. So that the next person that comes to power will know that this country, we don't joke here. And that is what most believers will do. We look at things. Then I say, oh, peace. But to be a debonair, I said, then you're jailing. Somebody steal from the gun, or be big gun and scanning, and I'm free. I can say jailing for life. Yet, Jin and Japan, I'm more money yet. Yakazo, Yenja Manka, Bia. In the life of Achan, he was killed with his family. Yeah. And God was at peace with the people of Israel. And the next battles they won. So be a bonia and I can't see him go be do yentimi kunipa. But they say jail life, jail in life to serve as deterrent. For those who take political parts, I want to be more leader in this car. And you know, Basa, you are not
Peace Council.
Peace Council, I just so, and you be a man in the town, you pan in this cannot sell or mine is cannot Peace Council, whatever. God still makes sure that Yango Ponsam, they be a council justice need to be served. Be here. Essentially, and the power born here, upon the better, but the consequence in the bedding. Remember? So we need to get to that point where the citizens should be ready. There's a song that we say, Arise Ghana, you for your country. No, it's not Arise Ghana, you for your country. Arise Ghana, citizens for your country. It is all the citizens, not the youth alone. All the citizens must arise for our country. So that when things are not right, let's talk about it. And I believe when we continue to do this and back it with action, nobody will take us for granted. May the peace of the Lord be with all of us. Amen.
So may the peace of the Lord be with all of us. Please don't preach peace and neglect justice. You must preach both of them so that there will be balance in the system. God bless you for listening once again. We'll see you in the next conversation.